Welcome to the LSI F1 World Championship. It's the Mexican Grand Prix. Let's get it. Qualifying 8 minutes on the clock, more or less. And we currently have, I believe it's Charlie, yes, on the top position of qualifying, recently setting that lap as well. Taisi, the championship leader, going into Brazil, leaving Brazil and heading into Mexico, making it Heischler. Well, they're about to start a lap. Let's see what they can do. Heischler's just finished one, P4 for now. Taisi's one position behind, currently a 13.879 on an outlap, now starting their second flying lap of the session. Let's see what they can do. 7 minutes. If they make a mistake on this lap, they do get another chance at going once again. Turn 1, using the exit, cutting over the first curb, pulling it all the way to the left, or all the way to the right, then to the left, cutting the curb again. On the exit, you've got to focus, really getting that traction down. It's very, very low grip over those curbs, and as you go slightly off, you go into turns 4 and 5. On the traction once again, over the curve, very smooth. Now double right-hander, again traction, very smooth. It's so difficult, it's very, very slippery. Turn 7, don't need to brake at all, just a lift, not even lifting off the throttle fully through the S section, flat, just trying to minimize that track distance. DRS as we head to the final few corners. Turn 11, I believe this is, braking nice and hard. And into the stadium section, we'll just watch on board with no information on the screen as he gets through the final corner. What's it going to be for Taisi, pulling it to the right hand side to minimize track distance all the way to the line, and it's going to be a P2, sitting right behind Charlie there, a 10th behind and a bit ahead of Nifo currently right now, the fellow countryman who is in P3 and trying to compete for that constructors and for the drive as well, making some pretty good progress. Final results of Brazil have not yet been settled, but they are under investigation and should be released within the next coming days. Ideally, now Charlie's into the pit lane. Taisi will be making their way back to the pit lane. Nifo set a lap recently, so that's their lap for now. That being said, we'll go and watch on board. They've invalidated on this one, so it looks like maybe they aborted a second run. I would expect that to be the case. Unless, no, that would have actually, never mind, been a lap regardless, as Taisi and Nifo will follow each other back to the pit lane. So Maxon has recently set a lap. They've gone for 2 laps on this set of softs, currently sitting P4, doing a very, very good job in the F1 tier last time around in Brazil, and then taking the win in the F1.5 tier, their current tier. Heischler on an outlap, looking to try and get a good result right now. He had that very little, well, I was going to say famous move. It's not something that you want to be too proud of if it doesn't go too right, but it did almost look absolutely epic last season where they tried to overtake on pit lane entry. It almost worked, and if it did, they would have been in a very, very good position for that race, but it didn't quite. They tried it. They almost looked like a hero. P5 right now for them. They finished that race in, I believe, P6 or P7. I will double check in a second, but they were fighting for that win. Igor was to then take that win in the end. Ended P6 did Heischler, currently sitting P5, hoping to qualify a little bit higher up the order, as they are fighting for this drivers, now leading the Drivers' Championship over the 100 points mark. And we'll get to confirm those points next time around in Saudi Arabia. Devin Young currently P6, but Heischler, this is it. This is their lap. They've unfortunately made a big mistake in the final stadium section. Big bit of oversteer is going to be an automatic abort, and they're going to go straight back into the pit lane. There is going to be no need to finish their lap, at least attempt finishing that lap. They will just have to sit at that one out. Unfortunately, we've got Jericho Willis, who is, of course, fighting for the F1.5 title on Saturdays. Tomorrow, they will come to Mexico, so they're going to get some good practice in right here. They've got the new entry of Ixal, currently P11, just waiting. Now, bonking on the DRS on their outlap. Just trying to get that extra speed as they go into the braking zone. They can warm up the front tyres if you brake heavier. This is what they're looking for. Just those little things. They don't have any pressure going into today's race with the championship not being theirs. They just want to get some good information in their home team actually as well. DRS will start their lap, but it's after the line and can be very, very difficult to remember if you're not expecting it. Also, you have to usually change the gear at exactly the same time as you have to apply that DRS button, which can be frustrating. We go into the first few corners, touching the inside curve for turn 1, turn 2 and turn 3, very similar but a little bit too much it looks like on turn 3, and they ended up having to just open up the steering to get that traction down, very close to track limits on the exit. They've turned the DRS off and they've aborted that lap. But at least they know what they should not do next time around. We'll see what they can do very shortly. We've got Vixal coming through the double right-hander. We've also got Igor on an out lap, so we'll go and watch on board with last season's race winner in the F1 23 game and fastest lap setter at the very end, taking maximum points for that Grand Prix. Against everything that happened in that race, they were ahead. It showed that they were the true champion from all those seasons ago, and they still have that racecraft. We'll see what these guys can do. Vixal slowing down and going to be moving out the way, it looks like, for Jerko Willis, who's going to go again, as they're going to be on scrub tyres. We're going to go on board with the Season 2 champion, Epro, from Serbia in the Aston Martin team. Obviously racing for Aston Martin quite a lot ever since it's been changed from Racing Point. They're raced as Racing Point, but also Ferrari. And they've stuck to those teams. He won with Aston last season. He's looking to try and repeat that again in Mexico, getting a big toe down to turn 1. That was not what he was expecting, but it's going to be a very, very nice benefit for sure. As they go through the first few corners, they did ride turn 2 a little bit too hard. Unfortunately, DRS available again. They've just got to try and get this lap done. 1 minute and 26 on the clock. They could in theory back out and go one more time, but I think they're committing to this lap. Through the double right-hander they will come up to now. Can they get that traction down? This will be the call. Are they going to continue with the lap or not? They're not using that much energy. They've just put some overtake on. They've got a lot of energy to use as they'll go down the DRS straight. So I'm wondering whether they will go again, as they just had that big bit of a moment as they went through the second curb and through the second corner. DRS is being used. They are pushing on the ERS. The final section, they've got the Ferrari in the way. Tom Robb did not move out that easily. It's going to distract Igor a little bit around the final corner. What's it going to be for the Serbian driver in the end with 40 seconds to spare? It's going to be a P4, 13.743, and just missing out on Nifojan's lap time. Nifo's on an out lap and ready to go again as they start their final lap of the session. We'll go across the line and see who we can find else setting lap times. Is it going to be Ticey to set a lap time next? No, they're backing off and getting ready to go for one more time, but they might not actually get another lap in. They've realised that they've had to overtake the Alpine of Vixal, who's actually gone and cut the corner. So they're going to be in an investigation for that one. Ticey is going to miss out on qualifying. They actually back off. They weren't going to go again anyway, I don't think. We've got the McLarens going across the line. What's it going to be for Heischler? It's going to be the pit lane. And P6 it will be for Heischler, where they finished last time around in Mexico is where they're going to be looking to possibly start, unless they get pushed down any further. We will go and see Devon Young. We've got Simaxon coming around the final few corners to see what they can do. Simaxon across the line, P3, pushing Nifo down. Devon Young changes that again. P3 for Devon, 13.480. Ticey might be lucky to hold on here, but there's still a long way to go. We're going to get the Ferrari coming through the next few corners. Tom Robb is going to try and go further up the order. P8 for them. Here comes Nifojan across the line. It's not going to be enough to improve any further. Charlie invalidates, but will be looking like they could have pole position here. Vixal is down on time. Jerko Willis has invalidated, and that will be their session done. Charlie takes pole position for the Mexican Grand Prix in the end as they went to the pit lane. A very, very, very good effort right there from Charlie. setting that lovely lap. A 0.3, no one else in the 0.3s. Ticey, Devon Young, both in the 0.4s. So close behind, but just not close enough. This is going to be a very, very interesting race. Very exciting race for sure. Looking at those gaps, they are incredibly small, and I cannot wait. A circuit like this, especially with a great big run into the first corner, it's going to be pretty entertaining. Not entirely sure what's going on here, but hopefully we're all good to go. Running out of fuel, it looks like. I would assume so. Yes. Easily done. Easily done. Right. We will get the results on the screen very shortly as we wait for the session to finish. Apologies for the noise there. And there is the session done. And we'll be moving on to the race that we've all been waiting for. It's going to be an absolutely awesome one into turn 1. As I just said, Charlie will lead the charge. Ticey into P2, then we got Devon in P3. That's the rest of the grid. This is the race director. And then we will be back for the race in a bit. P4, Simax or Nifo, primed in a great position. Devon Young as well to get that turn to the first corner. Who will make it there first? We'll see in a bit. Ready? Hold! Go! Who's going to get it into turn 1? We are away. The Mercedes is on pole position, but will they lead into the first corner? Ticey has the inside line, but no slipstream. Devon Young is going to have the outside line, tucking into the toe, pulling back out. But it is going to be Charlie who leads. It's 3 wide into the first corner. It goes to 2 wide into turn 2, but on 3, it's going to be Devon Young who comes out on top. Simax on Ticey down to P4. Nifo following right behind and might be in a position to make a move right here, but no, they're going to back off for now. They let it stay as it is. We've got a side-by-side moment with Heistra and Peanuts, and it's still going to be side-by-side as Peanuts wants to find a way through. They are going to push the limits, and they are going to stay there, and now have the inside line as they go to turn 7. Heistra's going to have to let that one go, and that is an awesome move right there for Peanuts. They did not give up, and they've got the job done. Brilliant stuff. But Charlie holding on to pole position, holding on to first place after getting pole position position into Mexico. That is a very, very, very good effort right there. They did everything that they needed to do. Devon Young gets from P3 to P2. Simaxon jumping up the order as well. Off the start, getting a really, really good launch. It seems Taisi just didn't have it because they were 3 wide in the middle. They had nowhere to go. And to be honest, to still have a front wing 3 wide in the middle at turn 1 Mexico is a very, very good achievement to still be in. But that is how it goes. We've got Nifo right behind the Williams, not looking to make any overtakes. All these guys are just relaxing at the moment. I say that these two are still not relaxing as Peanuts is trying to hold on ahead. They've gone off the circuit on the exit. Heischler's not going to be happy. They use all the energy. They want to try and get through as they go into turn 5 side by side, and it is going to be the McLaren that gets ahead this time. And on lap 2, they will now have that clean air. They've just got to try and focus and see if they can catch up to the other cars ahead. We've got Jericho Willis and JJ very close to one another. They've got the DRS currently to the car ahead. They've got to make sure that they maintain that, otherwise it could be game over. 1.9 seconds to Heischler, and the rest of the field, everyone else is in the train. Igor is at the back of that train, the race winner from last season, looking to try and get another result, who seems to do quite well here in the past. We've got everyone bunching up in the stadium section here. This is what a sight to see. I'll be honest, what a sight to see. Everyone just snakes through, crocodiles through, whatever you want to call it. And it's very, very tight. As you can see now, Devon Young is on the attack here. I say on the attack. Simaxon is on the attack and has made that move. I don't know if they made that move earlier on, but Devon Young wants to try and get back through, but they're not going to have the ability this time, as Simaxon brakes as late as they possibly can to maintain the position, almost going into the back of their fellow countrymen. They just about keep it together, but Charlie is going to be maybe a little bit shaken after that one. That was a close call that they didn't need to have, leading the race here in Mexico. Almost winning in Brazil, giving it their best drive ever, trying their absolute hardest, and it was emotional when it didn't quite come to it in the end. But now they're giving themselves their best chance, and around a circuit like this, where track limits are once again incredibly difficult to deal with, this is where they could come alive. If they can stay off the track limit warnings and just learn from what happened last time around, they will be very, very, very good in this race and should not have anything to worry about. Peanuts has made that move ahead of Heischler in the meantime, and Heischler has dropped back behind Tom 1.4 seconds. These guys are still catching up, so they can slingshot here. Tom Robb could possibly slingshot here to get ahead of Egapro, as these guys aren't too far away. This train could be once again a 12-car train if it's just played right. Nifo goes for the move on Taisi, so they're really making some good progress. They want to try and be as close as they can to their teammate. They make a little bit of contact at the back of the Red Bull. Devon keeps it in a straight line, and they don't really lose any momentum, but they've just got to be careful. The two Polish drivers leading the way. It almost looked like Simaxon was going to go for the move. I wanted to see if we'd get a switch up there, but no, they will stay civil with one another for now. Eager Pro just sitting behind and watching this battle ahead, as Taisi is now the car in front of him instead of Nifo. It's Tom Robb, who is 2 seconds now away from the rest of the pack. Peanuts did do a very good job, tried to hold on, but the pack ahead is just very, very consistent and holding on quite nicely. Relaxing, working together, it's paying off very, very well. Lap 4 of 36, the anticipation is high. It's very, very high. It's not easy to drive. It's so easy to make a mistake. I know that it looks like everyone is kind of relaxing as they're in this train, going not as fast as they probably would, but it is really difficult. We're going to get Simaxon going for the lead of the Grand Prix, I think, at this point. They pull to the inside line. Will we see Nifo try and have a go here on the Red Bull of Devon Young to the inside line? They'll send it, just a bit of a distraction. They actually worked as Devon goes slightly wide off the apex. Not enough to really cause an opening there for Nifo, but it is Simaxon who takes the lead of the Grand Prix. Devon Young's going to try and push his way through to P2 as well. Is it going to be possible? The inside line will be available. The Mercedes is all the way on exit to the outside. Now they send it through the double right, and it's all going to be a bit pushy and shovey. Charlie is just about ahead, but they back off as they realize that Samaxon is breaking away a little bit too much as they were side by side fighting through the slow speed sections. DRS is just about available here for Devon Young. They've had to push with absolutely everything, and they've got to go full send into the stadium section as they actually go and possibly get a track limit warning to try and bring everyone back into the train. Fighting is very, very crucial around this circuit. If you do it too much, you'll lose that DRS train. That's almost what we saw, but DRS will kick in for Devon Young, and he will be able to catch back up to Samaxon. And unfortunately for Samaxon, who did a phenomenal job there, will not be able to break away just yet. It's going to be Nifo pushing to get ahead of Charlie. Charlie possibly using a lot of resource to try and stay ahead of Devon Young. It didn't work out. They've lost all of that. We're going to get Heischler getting a lovely slingshot ahead of Tom Rob and Peanuts. Tom Rob and Peanuts are incredibly close together, but who has the DRS? I think it's going to be... Oh, Peanuts doesn't have the DRS, so will not have a chance at getting ahead of these guys. We've got Vixar 1.2 seconds behind, not in a position to quite make that move. They've gone off the circuit very slightly, and JJ's going to be looking to be in attacking position at some point soon if they can. 2.4 seconds is what Heischler has to his championship rival Ticey, and he needs to try and find that if he wants to maintain and extend that lead, still hold that lead if it was to finish as it was right now. Hopefully the race doesn't finish on lap 6, because that would be pretty disappointing if it was to, and anticlimactic. But we're going to go back to the race leaders, as we will start lap 7 very shortly. Devon Young is going to lead the Grand Prix, as Samaxon actually lost that there. I assume that must have been into turn 11, as they started sector 3, unless it was a mistake somewhere else, or maybe even turn 4 or 5 and I just completely missed it. I don't know, but we're going to get Nifo, who's going on the attack, pushing hard, and here we go. Devon Young's going to try and hold to P2, but he just can't get it done. The momentum was too much on that racing bull. Samaxon follows Nifo through. They just use that momentum to full extent, and they all go on the grass, it looks like, on the left. Charlie wants to try and have a go. They're going to get ahead of the Red Bull, but they're not going to get ahead of their fellow countryman, who almost goes into the back of the foe. Here comes Charlie to the inside. They back off very, very late, but they do. And in all of that, Eager Pro has made the move out of Ticey. That is a brilliant job from them. Now they have... I was going to say once again the Mercedes up in front of them. It's just Charlie instead, but no, it's Devon Young in between. Devon Young is just ahead of Eager Pro. Nifo leads the Grand Prix for the first time around on lap 7. To start lap 8, we're already at another lap again. Heischler has caught up to this pack as they were fighting. They all were heading into turn 4 and 5, and it was absolutely chaos. It looked like it was going to go horribly wrong. They were all dipping their wheels on the grass on the exit 3, but they keep it together just about. Heischler's doing their absolute best here. Nifo has got an 8-tenth gap, and they will be good to go to hold on to this lead. Charlie is going to look to have a go on the inside of the Racing Bull. They want to have it, but it's not going to be possible. That could be the DRS range lost if they're not careful. 8 tenths maintains. DRS will stay as it is though, as both cars will get it. And Nifo just wasn't able to utilise them going side by side right there, but they still do hold on. DRS is not easy to combat, so fair enough to them. They've done a very good job to stay where they are, and they've still got a very nice gap. They've got 9 tenths. They might even break away here. This could be a big change in the Grand Prix on lap 8 out of 36. It's 1.1 almost. It's going back down. ERS is going to be used by Samaxon. They need to try and hold on to DRS, but they didn't get it. And this is going to be a big, big, big moment right now for all the cars behind as well. If they realise that that Racing Bull is weak, they're going to want to try and push through sooner rather than later. This could change everything. I think Samaxon has just done enough to get the DRS off of Nifo. Nifo was a little bit loose on the rear end as they came through the final corners. DRS will not be available for Samaxon. Charlie is going to be catching at an absolutely incredible rate, and they're going to go into the lead of the battle. They're going to get a slingshot. They have to try and catch Nifo in this moment. The slingshot is theirs. It's theirs for the taking. It is the only opportunity they have to catch back up to Nifo. The other Mercedes, DRS will be available. They'll catch that gap nicely. 7/10 instead of 1.1. It goes to 8, but I think Charlie might be able to hold on this time around. That was very, very, very close for many drivers right there. Heichler has got back into this train to make it a 7-car train. Peanuts not quite able to hold on as they fight with Tom Rob. The other cars behind, we've got Vicstal having to go, Vicstal going into the pit lane, unfortunately. JJ, Yoko Willis, they are on their own battle at the moment. Tom Rob, are they going to go for the overtake on Peanuts? They are not going to go for the overtake on Peanuts. They were just getting very, very close. We're going to go and have a look at the strategy, as we just need to make sure we double check it all. As we can see, the top 6 are all on that medium tyre, whereas Heichler's on that hard tyre. He's looking to make a bit of a comeback later on. Usually in this game, it is the medium tyre that you start with. The hard tyre seems to have the benefit, especially around a circuit like this. Everyone is looking which lane they should take as they head into the first corner, and it is going to be just about sorted with all these drivers. Charlie now leads the Grand Prix once again from pole position. Now they take that P1 again. Nifo sits in P2. Now I've got pressure. They've got pressure from Samaxon, who is going to brake late, get the job done, not quite get the exit. Will Nifo try and get through? They're not going to have the ability to. The space just wasn't quite there. The switchback wasn't quite there. But Samaxon doing everything they can. Having a bit of a gap though. That is going to be a caution, just a yellow flag as Vicsal retires in the pit lane. That is our first retirement, but nothing on track. No safety car will be deployed. Pit stops will be coming in at some point within the next 5, 6 laps, maybe even 7. These cars are going to want to try and push them as long as they possibly can. The tyres around this circuit are not easy to manage. Samaxon is looking to try and possibly go for the lead. They've got ERS, but they don't have much of it. They're going to move to the inside line. That is going to be the ghost car in the middle of the circuit. I don't know what happened there. Ticey goes into the pit lane. That's Heichler left on his own. It's going to be a big switch up as all the cars didn't know what was going on. I think they got illegal overtakes possibly in the yellow flags, and Samaxon has to give the position back to Charlie. That was incredibly complicated right there. Very well navigated from everyone. I say well done. Thank you very much, everyone right there, to go through all of that quite well. That was very interesting. I wanted to say in the meantime, Heichler, of course, is in this battle as Ticey made that early pit stop. They've gone for that call a lot earlier than I thought. Even though I mentioned the pit stops, we've got Heichler on that hard tyre, looking very quick, but trying to find a space that wasn't really too obvious to Igor that they were going for. They've got a lot of energy in that car. I assume they've got a lot of grip in the car as well, so they would be able to push quite nicely, but they've still got to try and find a way through. So it's not going to be super simple. Charlie leads the way. We've got Samaxon, who's going to possibly try and have another go here as they go into the first corner, but it is going to be Heichler pushing on the energy, pushing to go for moves. We've got Devon Young going for the move here on Nifojan, and we've got Charlie going defensive with Samaxon looking for the outside line. They have the inside line for 3. Once again, the outside as they go into turn on the exit of 3. It's going to be Devon Young who's getting a phenomenal exit, and instead is going to be challenging for the win. It's going to be almost 3 wide. Charlie backs out to live for another day, and it's going to be Devon Young. How the hell did that happen? Devon Young goes from P4 to P1 in a matter of corners as all the fighting is going absolutely wild. 2.8 seconds is what Tom Robb has to the rest of the pack, just not quite able to find that little bit of extra time, but the cars are still close ahead, and they can be in this battle if everything goes their way. Devon Young, very slow in the straight. Samaxon's going to go through, and they will take that position. Charlie maybe had a look at going for that move, but backed off eventually. Simaxon now is going to be a sitting duck on that straight. They push to 4/10. They go into the pit lane immediately. DRS will be available. We're going to get Nifo into the pit lane, it looks like. It's not going to be. It's going to be Charlie, sorry, into the pit lane and Simaxon. They follow one another. Devon Young will lead with DRS. It's going to be side by side with Nifo and Heichler. That was a big moment right there. If they went side by side into that corner and lost DRS as the other cars were going for the undercut, they would have been in big trouble. Where is Ticey coming out regarding Simaxon and Charlie? According to Simaxon, it's pretty good. According to Charlie, I don't know what happened, but Charlie's had an absolute nightmare of a pit lane entry, or maybe just a pit stop, and they're now 2.1 seconds behind the car that they were directly behind just a few moments ago. Ticey, with a 1.2 second advantage over Simaxon, is gonna be most likely leading this Grand Prix when they come out of this. We've got Devon Young, who is just not able to keep up with Nifo, who's basically pushing him through the S section. He's going to go to the inside line. He wants to go into the pit lane. He wants to lose minimal time. They keep it side by side. Devon loses the car very slightly. He's now side by side with a McLaren of Heichler, who's on the hard. He wants to try and get ahead, but Devon is all over the place, goes off the circuit momentarily. Here goes Nifo. Here goes Devon. Here goes Igor. And now Heichler will lead the Grand Prix, the Mexican Grand Prix, for the first time this race. On 13 lap old hards, Tom Robb is in the same position, and we'll see what can happen here. Peanuts doesn't pit, stays out. JJ as well on the same situation as Heichler. Jericho Willis unfortunately getting a 10-second time penalty, but where is Ticey? Out of all of this, they should be leading the Grand Prix, and they're gonna be leading by a little bit as well. 1.3 seconds ahead of Simaxon, but no one else is to be seen. We've got both Mercedes incredibly close together. That just shows how much time Charlie really did lose. They could have pitted an extra lap later and lost just about at the same time, possibly, maybe even less, since Charlie's had an out lap to do to gain back a little bit of extra time. Devon Young just not having the great moments right there. Didn't seem to be able to hold on as Nifo was just pushing and putting that pressure on. And it was almost like a domino effect, incredibly difficult to manage. But they've kept it in a straight line, and if they just get a little bit more, they'll be in the DRS train, and that's all that they really need to think about. Obviously, the DRS train has broken up, but if everyone is in a train around Mexico, where there are a lot of high-speed sections, but also a lot of low-speed sections, that's where you gain everything. We're not even at the halfway mark and everyone has pitted. It kind of makes sense. We've got P6 here for Peanuts as they now go down to P10, pitting a lot later. It's going to lose them a bit, but the other cars have yet to pit, so they'll get an undercut or an overcut. They will get, no, they'll get an undercut on the other cars that haven't pitted. I do apologise. Simaxon has managed to do enough to catch up here to Ticey, but Charlie, 2.3 seconds of that mistake. Now there is a train formed between Charlie, Nifo, Devon and Igor. They have got a lot to think about. They have to work together if they want to try and challenge the top two. Ticey, who is going to be leading this Grand Prix with Simaxon, of course, if they work together, they'll be very good. They've got to try and focus with one another. They are both, well, Ticey's Williams and Simaxon is a reserve driver, so they're both fighting for one another as Senna isn't here, so Ticey doesn't need to fight for their teammate. They just need to score maximum points. And they've been in 1v1 situations before. They can do it again, I'm absolutely sure. You can see they're just up ahead as Charlie's doing their best, almost getting that to a sub 2 second gap. Nifo's going to possibly get the slingshot here and bring that down further as Igor goes for the fastest lap as he's right behind. These guys will slingshot, so will Simaxon and Ticey. It's going to stay more or less the same. Nifo, will they have the confidence to be able to catch up a little bit more as they go for the exit at turn 3? Double DRS will kick in, of course, as usual. As we'll see what the gap should be. It should be closer because Ticey doesn't get that DRS whereas Samaxon does. So, yeah, half a second, almost looking like a little bit more than that on the exit. Obviously, as I said, it's gonna be a little bit more than expected because Ticey doesn't get that double DRS because Samaxon was gaining all that time. Now it goes up a little bit, but it overall has actually come down. And Nifo and Charlie have worked together very, very well there and made that work very, very nicely. Heischler, are they going to be going into the pit lane just yet? No, they are not. They are going to stay out. So will Tom, and I assume JJ's probably going to follow on and won't go into the pit lane. They're far away enough from one another to be able to double stack without any issue or without major issue. We'll see how it goes for them very shortly. Ticey 5/10 behind Samaxon right now. Probably not going to be in a position to make an overtake. I'm going to be honest. Neither will Charlie or Nifo. So these guys are just kind of gridlocked at the moment, relaxing a little bit. We've got Eagle having a quick look on the inside of Devon Young, but didn't really make anything of it in the end. They stay as they are. Peanuts and Jericho Willis, they're going to be getting a bit of an undercut, a severe undercut on the other cars. That's going to be Charlie fighting with Nifo. That was weird. I don't know what was going on there. Charlie sticks their nose in. Nifo realizes last minute, backs off. They just lose a load of time. And Nifo is not going to be happy with that one. I was going to say 9/10. They lost about 4/10 from that moment. It looked like right there. I was looking at the delta times. I wasn't looking at the circuit. Charlie then goes and gets a track limit. So that's very, very, very confusing. The Mercedes duo just switching positions for I don't know what reason, and they've ended up losing time and getting a time penalty to the top two. The top two can now relax a little bit more. Ticey isn't closer than they were last time around to the car ahead, so they're going to stay as they are. It's actually going to be possible for them to get DRS on JJ as they catch up. I don't know what's going to happen here. JJ has got something to think about with the constructors here, so they might try and make things a little bit interesting. DRS will not kick in until we get towards turns 10 and 11 for that DRS. So Samaxon will get that DRS, but will they be able to make that move? Or is JJ going to try and back up the pack as these guys are going to get a severe undercut on Heischler? He needs to try and get his teammate to back some people up. And the S section is where it's going to happen, if it's going to happen. I don't know if they're even going to need to lift. The tyres that they're on are going to be so slow anyway that it's going to be impossible to gain any time. The DRS will kick in. JJ doesn't have anything left using the battery. To the inside line it will be for Samaxon. JJ's got to leave the space. He leaves the racing room on the exit. Samaxon is going to have the go on the inside. They're still side by side. JJ's giving it his best shot, and that is absolutely what he needed to do. What an effort there for JJ to try and help his teammate, and he stays in the train, more importantly. Ticey has to get the move done, but I think JJ's going to go for the move again on Samaxon, and everybody will be bunched up. Nifo, Charlie will be able to catch up massively. It mixes it all. Ticey leads. Absolutely incredible. Samaxon's not having any of it. They're being decisive. They're being very decisive. They needed to try and get back ahead. They don't have the DRS. They're using everything they can. They've got no battery left. Neither is JJ. Here comes Charlie to the outside line, and I think they might be able to make it work. Nifo sits behind, and they're trying to push through as well. Bit of a tap on the rear of their teammate. They now move to the inside line to try and get the momentum as well on the McLaren car, and they will get the momentum on the McLaren car. They just don't have the grip for the S's. Now Devon Young has got a lot to think about. They've got to try and get through on JJ. JJ's not really that slow for the S section now. The other cars are ahead of him, so you could see what he was trying to do to help his teammate, and he's done a phenomenal job at doing so as Samaxon goes ahead of Ticey. Once again, we've got switching around in that part of the circuit at this late stage or mid stage of the race. Heischler still doesn't pit. We've got Tom Robb, who goes into the pit lane and is going to serve their pit stop right now. Where will they come out? I don't know, but their tyres are going to be very, very fresh. They are going to be very, very, very fresh. Ticey is right behind. They're going to get a big tow. They've got both Mercedes fanning out behind them, just watching, trying to have a go. Charlie wants to be side by side. They're not quite going to get it. They go for the switchback almost kind of line just to get the better exit. Are they going to use the energy to get alongside the Mercedes? The Williams, I should say. They are. Defensive on the offense goes Ticey, but they end up moving across a little bit too much. There was a bit of a miscommunication, and in the end, there's contact between all the cars as we've got Igor trying to have a go here on Charlie. Charlie's trying to hold on. They're going to have to make their decision and back off in the end to stay with DRS. But everything has just happened, and I'm trying to process it all. There's contact there with Ticey, so Nifo will be able to see what happened there, and is going to probably use their experience to change their race. Maybe seeing that Charlie might have a bit of damage. They do have a time penalty, so does Devon, so they can use that to their advantage, of course. But if Ticey has had that incident, then I'm not saying anything will happen with that incident, but I'm also not saying that nothing will happen with that incident, so he can definitely use that to his advantage mentally. The mind games will be very, very superior for Nifo. Simaxon leads the way. They've got a lot of pressure as they lead that pack, but I think they're going to still lead it throughout this lap. Now JJ's done everything they can to try and hold on to DRS. This is the lap that they will not be able to hold on to the DRS. They have done the ultimate job to back up the pack. And as these guys are now starting to get on slightly older tyres, Heischler, who is still not pitted, 8 seconds behind. Yes, they are going to be very far behind, but not as far as they would have been. As basically, JJ was able to just cause a little bit of drama with the cars, and then they all kind of created drama with one another. It's going to be Heischler into the pit lane, and I'm excited to see where they come out. I'm excited to see their pace on that tyre compared to everyone else. Jericho Willis unfortunately getting a time penalty as they're currently P11. Tom Robb is P10. They've got Peanuts just up ahead, and we've got JJ going into the pit lane just about making it through. That is very, very close, and well done to keeping it out the wall. We're going to get the switch up though with the top three as that's Nifo onto the grass. They're all trying to figure out where each other should go. They've just about figured it out. We've got Simaxon, who I don't believe will have DRS here. I don't believe they'll have DRS. It's not going to be possible, but Ticey is going to be pushing for that move. The outside line will be available for the Dutchman, but they won't take it. They back off, go for the switchback. They want to have a go on the inside line for the double right-hander. They're going to push a little bit here, though. But once again, we could see Nifo break away from DRS for the second time this race. 8 tenths. I don't think it's going to be possible. They've just about done enough. They have figured it out this time around. We've got side-by-side battles here with Tom Brainer and Peanuts, the F1.5 races from last season. I do apologise there. And currently P8 and 9. They've been battling this entire race. Heischler, 10 seconds behind the cars ahead. They're all in the train. They can gain in the straights, but they will slow themselves down if they fight too hard in the corners. And the corners is where Heischler is going to be gaining massively on that medium tyre. That medium tyre will drop off, and it's going to drop off hard, and it's going to be hard to deal with. But as we saw, JJ was doing a pretty good job. If the cars are fighting hard enough, they'll be able to catch up nicely. Is it the better strategy? Well, we'll only find out when we cross the line. Devon Young, P3, currently ahead of Ticey in all of that. They've managed to get ahead. Igor just sitting behind. They've got a time penalty, unfortunately. And talking about time penalties, unless we get an overtake into turn 4 and 5, which it almost looked like we were going to get from Devon Young as they broke incredibly late, with Charlie also looking very racy. We're going to have a look at the penalties. 3 seconds for everyone except from Tom Robb of 6 and 16 seconds for Jericho Willis. So that's going to be something to look at later on in this Grand Prix. So Maxon doing a great job as a reserve driver to try and fight for this victory. They just need to try and be cautious. Obviously, They're not fighting in the championship exactly, but they are still fighting for themselves and proving that they can race at the top level. The others will be available for them, and they should be able to get the lead of the Grand Prix here. Devon Young is going to try and get a slingshot, and they are on some pretty decent tyres as well. Ticey on the oldest tyres, but still, they are pretty competitive. That being said, they've just been overtaken by Charlie. Here we go. So Max on. Are they going to have to look to the inside line? They're not, as they're going to get a bit of karma from not trying to go on the attack from Devon Young, who wants to push. They have to try and push. Now they're definitely going to be pushing. Devon Young to the outside line. Are they going to even have a go here on Nifo, who moves to the outside line? They leave the space there for Samaxon, who goes a little bit too deep. They're probably not going to be able to fight. Surely not. They don't in the end. They fought a little bit too hard, and they're going to once again get attacked here by Devon Young, who's going to have it on the exit. I say that, it's not going to be possible because the inside line will there go to Samaxon! Samaxon is round! I do not believe what I've seen! After all of that, the hard battling, their front wing is gone, and they push to their absolute limit. Through turn 7, it will go all the way. And what an effort. And what a lot of pressure they had to deal with there. But all of a sudden, it's all done. Devon Young manages to react to the car ahead that spun. And they aren't going to be in trouble. But it is going to be Nifo now leading with 2 cars in between him with time penalties. I don't know what to say. Simaxon driving so good once again in the F1 tier. This time, it's just not going to work out as they plan. Here we go. Charlie looks to the inside line here on Devon. Devon's got that move. I say, got that position, but not for long, as there was a bit of contact as they travel in with so much speed into turn 1. It can be incredibly easy to misjudge the other car, as no ERS is now available for Devon, as he fought as hard as he possibly could on that previous lap with some Axon to get ahead. And they did just about momentarily. Lost it as they went to the turn 7 corner on the inside line. Samaxon had the advantage, put a bit too much steering lock on as they had that compromised line. And that is what caused them to spin right there. Absolutely devastating. It's the way racing goes. It's absolutely tragic right there. We were in for such a good race, and we still are, with the top 5 looking very good. After all of that battling though, look at the gap. 6 seconds Heischler has now, and they have pitted last, except from, well, JJ and Samaxon, but they have pitted very late as they possibly could, and they're going to be continuing to catch up without a time penalty as well. Devon Young sitting right behind. It's a Mercedes 1-2 once again. Nifo leads the way, 4 tenths ahead of Charlie, who's not going to be going for the move into the first corner this time. Igor very close, and we get a bit of contact there with Ticey. He backs off to allow Ticey to maintain that move, but I don't know if he actually wanted to go for the overtake. He then late on saw an opportunity. All of a sudden it was a bit too late, and that is not what you want to see. Ticey is going to have to work pretty hard to catch that back up. It's not going to be easy. They don't have too much battery. If you want to try and catch up, this is the section to do it. Through the S section, through the low traction sections, and 3 tenths. They brought it down a little bit already. They might be able to just about do it. It might be alright. This is brilliant news for Nifo. The other cars around him, time penalties, the championship leader P6 and the championship contender P4. They're doing everything they need to right now. This is looking good for Nifo, if they can hold it where they are. Charlie currently losing DRS range as Devon Young is going to be incredibly frustrated. They're going to get the slingshot once again. It's going to go exactly the same way as it was. I think we're going to get Devon going for that move, but no, we're not. It's going to be Ticey into the wall. Where did that come from? Ticey has crashed. It must have been into the pit lane. Into the pit lane, Ticey crashes as they must have spun out the final corner. I do not believe what I've seen. The safety car comes out. We're going to get a lot of pit stops. These guys will pit first, but they shouldn't get any jumps because of the delta time. Tom Robb, interestingly, goes for the soft tyre. I don't know if that was the right call. Those tyres are going to be absolutely dead at the end. We're going to get JJ staying out, interestingly. They know that they can stay out and still maintain position under the Delta time, so that will be absolutely fine for them because they can get a lap fresher compared to everyone else. That is very good there for JJ. Well spotted, right on the money. But that is a big change, not only for this race, but for the championship as well. And that'll be another non-point finish, whether that be a DNS or a DNF. For Ticey on lap 27 out of 36. Very, very, very frustrating for the Williams team. But Mercedes now lead 1-2. Time penalties could come into play. Heichler obviously now brought back into this. It does mean their strategy from earlier is kind of invalidated. But they don't have time penalties, and they can definitely gain. This is probably the best thing they could have. We're going to get Egapro and Devon Young colliding as they enter the pit lane. Egapro is going to get a 10-second time penalty for that one, unfortunately, which is very, very frustrating right there. I think it was a collision for under safety car conditions. We're going to get soft tyres from both Mercedes, from Devon Young, but not from Igor and Heichler. I have to be honest, I think I agree with Igor and Heichler here. That medium tyre is going to be very beneficial around a circuit like this. The tyres will die. I guess we have a very light car. We have a very, very light car, which will be a benefit, but it's going to be hard. We're going to get this man back in the battle. They're going to start the battle, or the final few laps sprint shootout, in P8. But they're still going to be in this race once again. What can they do? No time penalties. They can gain some positions. They've got Peanuts, Heichler, and Nifo ahead of them with no time penalties. That's what they've got to look out for. Just waiting to see if we'll get confirmation if we go in this lap or not. I don't believe we will. Even though it could possibly come in late because we go through the slow speed section here in the stadium section. I think we'll be absolutely fine to continue another lap. And as we watch the safety car go past the pit lane, we will be back in a few moments. Lap 29, we will restart on lap 30 for 7 laps of Mexico. I'm going to try and say it, Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be an intense one. It's going to be very, very difficult, I have to say for sure. We've got Devon Young and Nifo leading the charge on the soft tyre. If these guys play nice, they'll be able to break away the gap they need for when that tyre dies. That soft tyre is going to be tough to drive on in the last few laps of this Grand Prix. We'll be going racing once again. Nifo leads the way and will be the one to go for that restart. Devon Young is the one to react. Everyone's warming their tyres. Heichler is in this, the championship leader. Safety car has still got to get around the final few corners. And then we will be good to go once again. The safety car is now going in. We can go at any point. Nifo goes nice and early. They rev the car out to make sure they don't get on the limiter. And Devon Young is all over the place on the rear end, just trying to get those tyres up to temperature at the last stages, but they're never going to quite get there. And that is a perfect restart there for Nifo, who will lead. An early run into the first corner is difficult. We're going to get Heischler pushing through, and they get ahead of Eagle Pro. They don't get ahead. Eagle's going to try and hold it. They go to the inside. There's contact in their round. No way. Heischler down to last place off the safety car restart. Eagle rejoins. I think there might be damage on that Aston Martin as well on the right end plate. I do not believe what I've just seen. Nifo is going to lead. Charlie is right there. I was going to say the other championship contender of Ticey, but they're DNF'd. I just straight went to Charlie. Nifo leads, and currently their championship rivals P10 looking to only score 1 point. This is absolutely incredible. Devon Young, Charlie and Tom Rob all with time penalties. We've got Simaxon getting ahead of Peanuts. They're pushing to their absolute limit. They have got that medium tyre. Everyone else on the soft tyre. It's not going to be easy to catch up here. I don't think they're going to get DRS when it is available. The fastest laps are coming through. Devon Young is going to be right behind and going to be pushing. Are they going to go into the lead of the Grand Prix? They do go to the inside line. They're not really there, but they are going to send it on the brakes, and they give it absolutely everything. Very well done right there for Devon Young. Nifo does back off eventually and just lets it happen. They've got everything to play for, and they've also got a fair few laps to go in this Grand Prix. Charlie is sitting right behind. There was almost a gap between the cars. It looked like Charlie wasn't able to quite hold on as the slingshot was really happening quite nicely there for Devon Young, pushing on the energy. They want to get the best result they possibly can. Tom Rob P4, as they're in for a good result if they can do it, but time penalties are not going to be easy. 9 seconds for Tom Rob. That's going to be incredibly difficult to drive with right now. So Maxom is almost within DRS range. They are within DRS range on that medium tyre, which is going to come alive to the final few laps of this race. They're going to be in a very good position, and they could possibly take victory here in Mexico City. Peanuts not quite able to hold on to DRS range, unfortunately. They're giving it their best shot. JJ in P7, Jericho Willis, and then we have Eagle with that damage to their car, and Heischer is going to be catching, and he's not going to be happy, is he? We've got Nifo going into the lead of the Grand Prix. Here comes Charlie to get ahead of Devon Young. They're on equal time penalties. This is for position between these two. Devon tries to hold on, but Charlie gets through. The switchback is available. DRS is not available for Devon. They will not be able to hold on to that position. They will be able to hold on as the cars behind are fighting. Tom Rob tries to make it work. They slide into the side of Simaxon. It's not going to be possible for Tom Rob in the end. They are on the medium tyre, and they are making it work in the early stages. I thought the late stages will be beneficial, but it still looks like they are alive at the moment. Those medium tyres, although they're going to be pretty old because Simaxon has already done some running on them, they're still going to be quite good. They might start to drop off, but I still believe by the time we get to the final few laps, that medium tyre could have the advantage over that soft, if not be equal. And if it's equal, with Simaxon having the pace that he's had so far this race, they might just be able to get there for that victory spot. Jericho Willis unfortunately getting another time penalty. We double check the time penalties for one final time, lap 33 of the 36. As again, it is position between Charlie and Devon Young. We're going to get Charlie going for the move here into the first corner. Nifo's going to let it happen. They're not going to do anything about it. We've got Simaxon taking a quick peek to the inside of Devon. They don't go for the move, but they're showing their nose, showing their face, and they know that they're there now. Devon Young is still going to be focusing on the car ahead, though, as they want to try and get ahead here of Nifo. They want to try and get ahead of Charlie. So to get to Charlie, they have to pass Nifo. Nifo. It's not going to be easy, and they're going to have to back off. Nifo holds on nicely, but they've still got to try and focus on themselves here. This is for the championship. Nifo needs to try and finish ahead of absolutely everyone. Heischler, P9, no time penalties and will still gain, but if these guys fight a bit too hard, it could be all over. JJ not too far away from the cars ahead. They could possibly get a DRS range. Tom Robb trying to hold on. They just about got DRS right now, but it's not going to be so straightforward. That time penalty was, I don't know who to, but we'll have to check in on that one later on. Maybe was that Jericho Willis getting the 9-second? It's going to be an extra time penalty there for Tom Robb, unfortunately. Not going to be happy in the late stages, but it is what it is. Charlie leads the way. Nifo's got DRS. Devon's going to try and push through. Maybe even an extra slingshot here for Samaxon. Nifo has to go for that move on their teammate. Their teammate is still pushing, and they're not going to allow it to happen. They're not going to go for the move. I don't know what's going on. Samaxon's looking all over the place. They're trying to find a way through. They might be able to get the double overtake as Devon Young and Nifo are so close to one another. It's going to be ERS galore, but no, Samaxon will not quite have a go all the way off the circuit Nifo was going. They're now going to get that position back. Devon Young almost going to be losing that position to Samaxon, who has the outside line. They have the momentum, and they could possibly have the grip on those old soft tyres. That is a phenomenal move right there from Samaxon. Devon Young gave it absolutely everything. He's doing what he needs to do. He's doing everything right. Devon Young is just trying their best to make it work. That's going to be contact with Peanuts and Tom Robb. It looks like Tom Robb, did they get damage? I think they're fine, and they'll be able to continue, but they're going to be frustrated. And in all of that, Heischler, 7th place, but they do have a time penalty to their name, which is going to be difficult to manage. And as I wanted to say, Devon Young's doing what he needs to do. He needs to put the other cars under pressure to be able to get them a time penalty, and then he'll be in a position to try and fight for this victory. Samaxon is going to be pressuring both the cars, both the leaders. He's going to try and be the new leader, but it's not going to be possible. They now sit in P2, and Nifo is now in P1 for this race. Samaxon is going to have the DRS. They're going to save the ERS. So is Nifo. They're going to go side by side into 4. Samaxon's going to be ahead. Charlie cannot afford to get ahead of their teammate here. There's contact as these cars were going so slow through the corner. Everyone's in the battle. Devon Young gets ahead of Charlie. Nifo and Samaxon with no time penalties, but Peanuts is here to join the party, and now they might be able to get a podium out of all of this. Absolutely incredible. Devon Young loses the car. He's gonna have to try and hold on if they can. Is it gonna be possible? They could have to run. They do have to run. They're incredibly close as Peanuts tries to move out the way. They're gonna be side by side. It's not gonna work. Everyone's going so slow through the corners. There's a car off in the background. That's gonna be Eager Pro. What a shame there. Lap 36 is on its way. Samaxon leads. Nifo sits in P2. Will they be able to get it? Peanuts is in P3. Samaxon's using the energy, and it might be possible to hold on, but in the late stages of the straight, here comes Nifo. The outside line becomes the inside, becomes the outside, and Samaxon sends it over the curb. DRS is once again available. Nifo is going to be ahead. I'm going to try and take a deep breath before we get to the final sector of this lap. Samaxon, old tyres against old soft tyres. They're going to have the outside line as Nifo, but they're sliding all over the place. DRS will be available for one final time. Nifo could get this. Charlie disconnects on the final lap of the Grand Prix and will plummet down the order. I do not believe what I'm seeing. DRS is available. Nifo, will they have the opportunity? The outside line is the only line. The switchback is available. Oh no! Peanuts is going to go through. They're trying to take the P2. The DRS is not going to be working enough. And Nifo, out of all of that, will miss out as Peanuts pushes through. It's going to be Samaxon to win for the first time in LSI F1 history. Peanuts gets a P2. He got a podium last season. He loves this circuit in LSI F1, but Nifo fought everything they could. the the soft tyre didn't work out on the final lap of the Grand Prix as I thought it wouldn't. Heischler to P4. Everyone fighting. Time penalty despite that. Still finishes directly behind Nifo. And Nifo is going to be absolutely furious. Can't be furious at anyone in the final stages, I don't think, unless we see it from a different perspective. But it's just so unfortunate for his sake that that happened in the end. Igor, unfortunately, having a very, very disappointing end to their race. They finished first in the Grand Prix last season. They finished last the next time around. But Samaxon wins for the first time in LSI F1. Absolutely incredible. Maybe they should have stayed in the F1 tier. From having an incident, they make their way back to the top. Samaxon wins, Peanuts P2, Nifojan P3, then we've got Heischler, Devon Young, JJ Charlie of the fastest lap, then Jericho Willison P8, Tom Rob Igor, and DNFing earlier on was Ticey and Vixau in the end. We are going to go down the order with the race director as it is Mexico, and we're going to go to the pit stop section. If that was the full race replay, we will see you next time in Saudi Arabia. If not, we'll see you in a bit for the post-race interviews. I would like to apologise for my voice completely ending itself at the end. I tried my best. I'll try and make sure I work on that for future. I need to do some exercises or something. We'll see you in a bit for the post-race interviews. Hello everyone, welcome to the post-race interviews for the Mexican Grand Prix. That was a crazy race throughout the entire duration. We start with Devon. Devon, that was a difficult race. Of course, there was a time penalty that made it difficult for you, but you still fought all the way to the end. Can you take us through your race?
Yeah, I think it started off good. I think qualifying probably could have gone better. I definitely had the pace to be on pole, but on my final lap I messed up quite badly, so that's unfortunate. But I guess like I was kind of happy with P3 because you get the slipstream down to turn one, which was good, and then I think I got into P2, settled in a bit. I think it kind of went all right. Like everything was pretty simple. It was pretty chill. I mean, people were driving quite slowly as per usual. Right in this game, it's just sort of a slow train. It's pretty boring, but it's whatever. And then pit stops happened. I had to do a bit of like, I guess, catching up to the people that did undercut, but that was chill. And then yeah, safety car came out, and then from there it just kind of, I don't know what people were thinking. I mean, I think the driving standards dropped quite heavily there, which is a shame because up until that point it was good. And yeah, I mean, it's a bit crap that you do like 36 laps and then, I mean, everyone just throws the driving standards away at the end, so you can't really do much. I think it's kind of makes it a bit pointless, you know, racing, because you know, you can't really control people just driving into the back of you, you know, and dive bombing. So, but I think it was an exciting race throughout. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a tough one, and obviously when everybody is very, very close, it can get incredibly difficult. That's what I'll say. Moving on to Saudi Arabia for you, I'm going to try and keep it short. Is that a good circuit? It's a sprint race as well.
I don't know. To be honest, it's been alright in the past, but yeah, it's a new game, so I don't know. I think I'll have to see whether I want to practice or not, because sort of lost a bit of motivation. To be honest, today I think. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to have a think about it, but yeah, don't know what to say really.
It's a shame, but thank you very much for the effort today. It was great to see you fight, and hopefully it can go better next time. Thank you very much, Devon.
Cheers, Aaron.
And we move on to Peanuts. Peanuts, well, how about that? Hold on, I got the unmute wrong. How about that? That was a pretty good result in the final stages. I don't know what your POV was at the end. Can you take us through it?
I gotta say, the beginning I was like just like going for the typical P7. I thought would be a great result. I was trying to learn the line throughout the race. I have barely touched this track on this game, so it's quite difficult. And then like I didn't mean to have my ERS on like overtake under the safety car and lost DRS that way. It was being caught up by the car behind of JJ. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know, I just realized, oh shit, there's a lot of people with penalties here. It's my time to shine. And then I somehow moved up all the way to P3. The last overtake was very controversial. It was my fault. It was last lap shenanigans, which I would take fully cred for. I don't care if I get a penalty or not. It was fun being back.
Yeah, you crossed the line to at least get the podium. You actually got P3 last season as well when you were a crossover driver for F1. So you've managed to get double podiums in consecutive seasons. Saudi Arabia, it's a sprint race. Do you think you can do well there? It's a very different circuit.
I mean, I thought that I was washed around here, and as you can see, this is a sport where anything could happen. Shown today. Even if I do get a penalty, I think I could have easily gotten P3 by just being a wimp around here. But I just gotta say, sorry to Nifo and Saudi I've struggled with. So should be difficult, but who knows.
Very well said. Thank you very much, Peanuts. Good luck next time, and I'll see you next time. And we move on to Charlie. Charlie, that was a tough race. Obviously, a time penalty. It was in the middle part of the race or quite early on.
I want to forget this race. I just want to forget it. It didn't happen. Oh my god, this race was so cursed for me. I mean, I had pole. I'm happy. But I think, yeah, it was kind of unfortunate for Ticey because he got massively impeded. I even saw it on the minimap, which, yeah, it was unfortunate. I invalidated my last lap, so I kind of wanted to see what he could have done. But anyway, I was pole, and then the race, I think, went wrong in like every way possible. I mean, yeah, first the 3 seconds, then the pit lane being weird, like being in the Mercedes, the garage is like right at the entry, so it's kind of bugged. So when you try to put on the pit limiter, it like presses the pit, like the turn in as well. So I got a slower pit stop twice. I had to wait behind Nif on the safety car. I made the wrong call, which, well, it was my fault. Mediums turned out to be better in the end, but yeah, I don't think it would have mattered if I went onto the mediums because my internet died on the last lap. So yeah, I mean, just unlucky.
Yeah, that was the last bit you really didn't need at the end, but hopefully that's that done for the season. Like, you're not going to get any more connection issues, hopefully. You go to Saudi Arabia and forget this race. You get 2 shots, of course, the sprint and the main race. Do you think you can finally get your win?
There's a sprint as well. Nice.
Do you think you can get your win?
When, I don't know. I know there are people that like that track, that are very fast on it. I'm not sure if I like that track. Still, with like the setup meta changes, some tracks became more fun for me. Like especially with Brazil and Spain, like those were the circuits that I didn't really like, that I now kind of like driving on. So yeah, maybe I hope Saudi is one of them. So we'll see.
Fair enough. Thank you very much. Well said. Well done, Charlie. Unfortunately, it didn't go the way you wanted it to, but we'll see you next time and hopefully you can go back.
Yeah, it's fine.
Thank you. All right, we move on to Heischler. Heischler, I just want to ask 2 questions. Was that strategy the right one before the safety car? And also, before the safety car, were you expecting the result that you got in the end?
Yes, I was. And I think it was the right strategy if you look at how much I catched up every lap. It was a second or over a second every lap, so I would have catched up to the train if it kept going like that. And when I was on the hard and was behind that train, I always saw it was just chaos all lap. So I just knew they would fight still. I knew they would make chaos. So I wasn't really too worried when I was on the mediums. And actually the safety car made it even easier for me. I was actually in a prime position to win that race because I knew the softs weren't great. Even no matter when you pit on them, they are just awful. So yeah, I know Nifo didn't have a penalty, but the rest did. And Eagle wanted to let me by at the safety car restart, so it was looking really good until turn 2, where he accidentally hit me. So I had to do another comeback. Yeah, in the end P4 I can't complain too much if I started that far behind. No one didn't really help me that much. I was all on my own at all the time, so I would say in terms of pace and in terms of strategy, everything, might have been one of my best drives if I won this race. But I just got unlucky with that contact. But I believe in the end I still made the gap in the championship to P2, which is now Nifo, I think, bigger. So we just keep going like this, I guess.
Very well done. Yeah, it was good. I don't believe you were fully alone. JJ did an absolute legendary defense for you before you pitted. So you did have some good teamwork there. Saudi Arabia, I know you like that circuit with a sprint. How many points do you think you can score?
I'm quite confident I can outscore Nifo there. Might sound a bit cocky, but I know Nifo is good at tracks where you can easily stay in DRS, where you can't really make the difference in the corners. And I know at Saudi you can make a lot more difference in corners than compared to Mexico or Brazil. So yeah, if I just have a good quali session, I am quite sure I can win both the sprint and the race itself.
Good luck there. I hope you can do it. Thank you very much, Aishlem. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
And we move on to Samaxon. Samaxon, if everything stays as it is, you are an F1 winner. Absolutely incredible. 7 races into the season, and you've done it. It was not easy. Of course, there was a bit of an incident that was very, very unfortunate. After that, you didn't give up, or were you kind of thinking this was it?
Yeah, I know Torque. I think this was a simply lovely win, but even I made a few mistakes like that spin, and after it I just drove. I thought that maybe I will be ahead of who was it, Jericho, and just thought about getting the fastest lap to just score some points. Didn't expect the safety car. I don't really know what happened to Toysy.
Not entirely sure.
And then I was in a great position as I had mediums with only 3% swell, and had a chance to actually fight for the win. When I got to the top 4, I knew that only Nifo doesn't have a penalty. So I just tried to fight as hard as possible without pushing anyone off the track. And on the last lap, did a switchback.
Awesome.
Like him.
Yeah, it was crazy. You've managed to do it. Before the race started, do you think you could do that? Before qualifying started, do you think you'd be able to win today?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Well, you've done it, and it's always a crazy circuit for racing. Well done to coming out on top in the end. Saudi Arabia, that's a very different circuit. Lots of DRS as well, so it can definitely be a bit of a train circuit. Do you think you can do well there?
On if I will be able to stay up with the terrain. If yes, then maybe
Fair enough.
I will be on the podium, as I don't think the win is possible, but we will see.
Well, you didn't think it was possible today, so maybe it will be. Thank you very much, Simaxon. Good luck tomorrow, and we'll see you next time. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And we move on to Tom. Tom, that was a tough one, but up there in the end with the safety car, it just didn't quite work out.
Yeah, first in the qualifying, I was nearly to my limits. I could have driven like 2 times faster, but it wouldn't have changed anything to my position. And then I actually wanted to do a 2-stop, so I chose the harder settings for the tires. So I had just 1 set of mediums and 2 set of hard tires. But as I saw when the others pitted from the medium to the hard, I thought I'd have no chance with the 2-stop to drive out the gap. So I decided to try to go for the 1-stop, and I just had 0 pace on the medium tire. I struggled a lot. And then in the end, I just had the choice between the soft tire and the hard tire, and I thought that I may have had the chance with the softs for at least 3-4 laps, but in the end I just had 70% on my rears, which was just crazy high, and I couldn't get any grip. And then there were also just time penalties, like the 4 track limit warnings I got were in a lap where I got a random pop-up from Windows because my computer storage was full because of the recording. So I just completely lost concentration there. Then I had 2 track limit warnings. I would say like, yeah, that I can accept. And then just after like lap 18, 20, but I just saw it's really hard for me to get anything. I just lost focus. Got a lot of track limit there, and then just on the soft were with no grip in the end. I think I got also 6 seconds. So I did a few mistakes in terms of strategy selection, which just backfired completely in the end.
Yeah, it's a tough one, and hopefully the computer issues don't come back again for future. Sorry to know that happened. Looking for the next one, Saudi Arabia. Do you think you can get some good points there? There's 2 opportunities to do so.
Yeah, in the open lobbies, it looked quite good for me in terms of pace. But I have to get training in because it's a really hard track to just do consistently good lap times. Because it's just so easy to make a little mistake in the first sector and then just being completely offline, or just braking a slight bit too late and then just completely go into the wall. And with the concentration issues I had the last few races, it's gonna be quite hard to get through it. But I think if I manage to get the practice done, get consistent, and stay focused for a whole race, I could have the chance, at least for top 5, maybe with a crazy race, for a bit better of a result, but I don't expect anything.
Fair enough. Well, hopefully it does go well. Although you don't expect anything, hopefully it does go well. Thank you very much, Tom. Good effort to stay in the race, and we'll see you next time. And we move on to Nifo. Nifo leading for a fair bit there. Of course, restarting the safety car, but when we came to the final laps of the Grand Prix, it didn't quite go the way you wanted it to. Can you take us through your POV of the race?
Yeah, I mean, it's the first race where I haven't got something wrong on my body, so I was kind of hoping that would be a good one.
Well, you showed pace, so at least there's that.
Yeah, but in quality, I was already like, okay, well, the pure pace is not really there. Although I did make a mistake, so I could have qualified higher up, but obviously everybody makes mistakes in qualifying, so... yeah, I felt like I drove a good race, honestly. I felt like the hards were the wrong strategy. I think it would have been even better if we pitted later, but everybody jumped the gun, wanted to pit super early, so you kind of have to follow that. And yeah, I think up until the safety car, I did what I had to do, stay out of trouble, chose my battles well, you know, lead. I almost pulled away multiple times. And then, yeah, obviously it gets a safety car, and then people who, in my opinion, shouldn't be in the race then get put in the race. Obviously, luck is part of racing. It happens. Yeah, it's a bit a hard pill to swallow that, you know, you can drive a perfect 28 laps and someone can spin 3 times, make mistakes multiple times, and be in the lead again, which is annoying, but it happens. And yeah, I tried my best for the last couple of laps. I think the softs were the wrong choice in the end, so that's the one mistake on my part. And yeah, I mean, in the end, it's just a bit of luck with track position as well, like, oh, where are you going to end up, who's going to push, who has energy, who doesn't, who's going to be aggressive, who's going to stay behind. Like, it's, you just don't know with that long of a straight and with the DRS. And I think I did well, yeah, up until the final sector. And yeah, I set up my move. Simaxon had to defend. I knew that that line was going to give him a very bad exit there, and the next corner you can make a dive even though it's risky. Like, I knew with the accident he was going to have, I would have a chance. And then yeah, someone tries to be a hero and dives up your inside and pushes you off track, and then I mean, you lose 2 positions. I mean, well, 1 position and the chance for the win, which is annoying because I felt like I don't say it often, but I think I did deserve this one. Just because of the fact that I was leading for most of it, and I think out of everybody in the top, I made the least contact with people. And yeah, so I don't know. I did try. That was everything I could have given, but you know, sometimes it doesn't go your way. And yeah, this time I felt like I deserved it, but you know, you have to move on.
Yeah, Mexico, long straight, as you said, it makes it very difficult. You did a phenomenal job. Another circuit with very long straights is Saudi Arabia. You've done very well there in the past. Do you think you can do it again?
Yeah, I don't know. It just, yeah, I mean, those type of races, you're dependent on other people, really. I mean, in Saudi, if you're in a train with 3 people, you can pull away. If you're in a train with 10 people, it's hard. Like, if everybody gets a good launch off the start, everybody behaves, then it's really hard to pull away from the train. Like, you have to do some strategy stuff to really do something there. And most importantly, you gotta keep out the wall, which I did do a few times, but I also hit it other times. So I really don't know. It just depends on other people. So anything can happen.
I look forward to it. Thank you very much, Nifo. It's a shame that it didn't go the way you wanted it to, but you gave it your all, as you said, and that's all you need to do. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. And we move on to the end of the stream. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. We will see you tomorrow for the Mexican Grand Prix for the F1.5 EU Championship. We'll see you next weekend for the sprint race event at Saudi Arabia to mark the final event of the 3rd segment of the championship before we go for our final week break into the final 3 races. That's going to be a good final through. I can't believe I just spoiled that. A good final few races. I'm going to go and rest my voice. I'm going to hope that you all have a good evening, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.